Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something pretty fundamental, a big shift, really. We're talking about going from just playing games, being a gamer, to actually making them,
Yeah.
becoming a game creator.
Yeah, it's a jump that it often feels huge, right? Like way too technical for most people. But the sources we've looked at, they actually lay out a pretty clear path.
Okay.
So our mission today is basically to break that down for you. We want to show you the advantages you already have just by being a gamer.
Right, the hidden stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then map out, the tools, the skills, maybe the education, the practical steps you need to take if you want to make that passion, well, professional.
Okay, let's get into that, because I think anyone who's sunk hours into a game, they've had that moment. Why isn't the save point here? Or, ugh, this boss is just annoying, not fun.
Totally. And that feeling, that little critique in your head, that's actually like the most valuable thing you bring.
Really, more valuable than coding skills initially.
Well, yeah, in a way. Because the foundation of good game design, it isn't really the code itself. It's that intuition. It's knowing what feels right. As a player, you get game flow, you get pacing, what makes you want to keep playing.
Yeah.
You understand that stuff maybe better than someone who just knows C++ Monk?
So it's fun, it makes you slam the keyboard, the rage quit.
Right. And you know the difference between a level that pulls you in for hours and one that just feels like, I don't know, busy work.
That player experience knowledge, that's gold. It's like having years of user research already done.
Pretty much. If developers want to make engaging games, who better to design them than someone who deeply understands engagement? The player.
So that mindset, that's the real starting block.
Absolutely critical. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting with, let's call it a refined taste for what works.
Okay, which leads us right to that big fear factor the sources talk about, that I can't do this feeling, I'm not a coder, I'm not an artist. People think they're locked out.
Yeah, and they often imagine their first project has to be this like massive open world epic.
Which is just setting yourself up for failure.
Completely.
Hmm.
We need to kind of tear down that idea straight away. The sources are really clear. The best way to get going and eventually get good is to start super small.
Like, how small are we talking?
Think a simple runner game or a basic platformer, even a clone of something really simple like Flappy Bird.
Okay. But hang on, if your goal is, say, working at a big studio someday, doesn't starting small seem counterproductive? Don't you need a big, impressive portfolio?
You'd think so, but it's actually the opposite. Starting small teaches you the most important lesson for any project, big or small: scope management.
Avoiding biting off more than you can chew.
Exactly. A hiring manager at a studio, they'd much rather see 5 finished, polished, simple games than one huge, ambitious mess that's only half done.
Okay, that makes sense. Finishing proves you can deliver.
Right. It shows you can handle the basics: movement, physics, scoring, sound. It proves you can actually complete a project cycle. These small games are where you learn the fundamental grammar of making games.
So completion equals competence. And the tool that makes this really accessible for beginners, the sources kept pointing to Unity.
Yeah, Unity is a fantastic starting point. It's powerful, it's flexible, and it's used everywhere. Indies, mobile games, even big AAA studios use it for certain things.
And the big advantage for someone just starting out.
It's really designed for learning step by step. You can literally drag and drop objects to build a scene. There's a huge asset store with free models, sounds, scripts.
So you can get something happening quickly.
You really can.
Yeah.
The sources mention you can go from a totally blank project to having a character moving around in like under an hour.
Wow. Okay, that rapid feedback must be huge for motivation.
It's vital. When you're learning something complex, getting those small wins keeps you going. And achieving that first little bit of success, that triggers that cognitive shift we mentioned earlier.
The shift from player to analyst.
Exactly. The second you make even one tiny level work, a character jumps, a coin gives points, you'll never play games the same way again. You start studying them. Why did they put that enemy there? Why does this jump feel so good?
Play becomes analysis. Entertainment becomes professional study.
You got it. And suddenly, you're not just asking if games can be made. You're asking, okay, how did I do that? How can I make my version better?
And that's the point where maybe you start thinking, could this be a career?
That's the transition, yeah. Moving from just tinkering to thinking professionally. If you want a job in this industry, you need to understand how it actually works, the whole process.
So professional game development isn't just coding or art.
Not at all. It's the whole life cycle. It starts with the idea, the concept, the design. Then there's the actual building programming, using the tools. plus all the art, the animation, the sound.
And testing, right. Can't forget testing.
Oh, absolutely critical. Testing and QA runs throughout. And then finally releasing the game and supporting it afterwards.
It's empty
Public
again.
operation.
So if we're looking at that whole life cycle, what are the typical jobs? What do people actually do day to day?
Well, it spans that whole pipeline. You've got
Okay.
conceptualization and design generating ideas, figuring out the rules of the game.
But what makes it fun part?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Then the programming and development, that's the coding, building the systems, making the tools the designers need.
Okay.
Then art and design, which is huge, modeling, animation, textures, sound effects, music, making the world come alive.
And you mentioned testing and QA, finding all the bugs before players do.
Essential. It's a constant feedback loop. And finally, release and post-release, which involves marketing, updates, community management.
Wow, okay. So the good news here is you don't have to be a master at everything.
Definitely not. That's the key takeaway. The industry needs specialists. You find your niche. Are you about the systems, the story, the code, the art?
Right. So let's talk specifics. What are some of those job titles?
Okay, well, the game designer, they're focused purely on the player experience.
Yeah.
The rules, the systems, level layouts, balancing how the game plays.
Gotcha. The architect of fun.
Kinda, yeah. Then the game programmer. They're the engineers. They write the code that makes the design work, often using C++ for engines like Unreal or C# for Unity. They build the actual game logic.
Okay, so designer dreams it, programmer builds it. What else?
You've got narrative designers. They craft the story, the dialogue, the world-building lore that makes you care about the game world.
Important for immersion.
Hugely. And then you need someone to manage this whole complex machine. That's the producer.
Ah, the project manager.
Essentially, yes. They handle the teams, the schedules, the budget. They keep the train on the tracks, making sure the creative vision actually gets delivered without breaking the bank.
Seems stressful.
Can be. Then there are roles like the technical artist. They're like a bridge between the artists and the programmers. They make sure all the cool art assets actually work in the game engine without slowing everything down.
Okay, that sounds specialized. It is. And don't forget the community manager who talks to the players, builds the community around the game, and, of course, the QA tester, the bug hunter. Their job is literally to try and break the game to find problems before launch.
So a huge range of roles, something for different skill sets.
Exactly. And it's a growing field. The sources really emphasize that the gaming industry is massive, it's expanding, often growing faster than movies or music.
And the pay can be good too, right?
Yeah, potential for high earnings is definitely there, especially for experienced programmers or specialized designers, often quite a bit higher than typical software jobs.
Okay, that brings us nicely to the practical side, the roadmap. You've made your first tiny Unity game, you're hooked. How do you level up professionally? Do you absolutely need a degree?
Need. Maybe not always. Talent and a strong portfolio are incredibly important, but formal education. It can definitely speed things up and give you a solid foundation. The sources highlight a few main degree paths.
Let's start with the most direct route, the game-specific degrees.
Right. That'd be a bachelor's in something like game software development or game design. These programs are built for the industry. They teach design principles, storytelling, level design, and you get deep dives into tools like Unreal or Unity programming.
So they teach you how to apply the tech specifically to making games fun.
Pretty much. Then there's the more general but maybe more powerful foundation.
Computer science.
Yep, a degree in computer science,
Yeah.
CS, or software engineering. This is the gold standard for programming roles. CS teaches you the deep fundamentals, algorithms, data structures, how computers actually think.
So it's less game-specific, but maybe more versatile.
Exactly. It gives you a really strong base that lets you adapt to any engine, any programming challenge, not just in games, but potentially anywhere in tech.
Okay, so game design teaches the application, CS teaches the foundation. What about the artists?
For them, degrees in computer graphics, animation, or digital arts are key. These programs focus intensely on the visual side, modeling, texturing, animating, rendering, mastering the tools artists use.
Makes sense. And you mentioned the business side too.
Yeah, don't overlook degrees in business or marketing. If you want to be a producer, or maybe even start your own studio one day, understanding project management, finance, marketing, how to actually sell the game. That's crucial.
Okay, so formal education can help structure the learning, but what about the actual steps? The sources laid out a kind of journey, right? Like 7 steps.
Yeah, a practical guide for someone starting out. Step 1 is kind of philosophical but important. Cultivate deep understanding.
Meaning play more games.
Well, yes, but actively. Play outside your favorite genre. Play indie games, play old classics, analyze why they work or why they don't. Think like a designer even when you're playing.
Okay, step 1. Be a curious player. Step 2.
Get technical. Develop technical skills. The industry largely runs on C++ and C#. You need to get familiar with at least one, probably C# if you're starting with Unity, maybe C++ for Unreal. It's the language the engines speak.
Non-negotiable for serious development, then.
Pretty much. Which leads to step 3. Start small and practice under pressure. Make those mini projects we talked about. And crucially, do game jams.
Ah, those intense weekend coding competitions.
Exactly. You get a theme, you have maybe 48 hours, you team up and build a game from scratch. It's amazing practice for working fast, collaborating, and most importantly, finishing something under a tight deadline.
Okay, build small, practice fast. Step 4.
Show your work. Build a portfolio. All those little games, those game jam entries, put them online. Make a simple professional website. Recruiters need to see what you can do, not just hear about it. It needs to be tangible proof you can finish things.
Makes sense. Your portfolio is your resume in this field, really.
Absolutely. Step 5 is about people. Network and collaborate. Get involved. Join online forums, Discord servers, local developer meetups, go to conferences if you can. Making games is usually a team effort. Networking is how you find collaborators, mentors, maybe even your first job.
Don't code in a vacuum.
Right. And the last 2 steps are about getting real-world chops. Step 6, gain practical experience. Look for internships, even unpaid ones at first, just to get inside a studio environment, or take on small freelance gigs.
Get that real-world pressure and experience.
Yeah, that hands-on experience is what makes you immediately valuable to an employer. It shows you can work in a professional setting. The sources really hammer home that it's not just about skill, it's about applying it with discipline.
So you've got to channel that gamer passion constructively.
Precisely. And remember, you already have that key ingredient, that gamer's intuition, that understanding of fun.
We started there, didn't we? That unique advantage. And the path seems clearer now. It's work, for sure, but doable.
It really is. The tools are accessible, the community is often supportive, and the industry itself offers huge potential for creativity and, frankly, a good career.
So the big message is,
Every great game developer, every single one, started out just like you, a gamer who had an idea, maybe a frustration, maybe a dream. The only real difference is they decided to download Unity or Unreal, start that tiny project, and make that mental shift from just playing to actually building.
okay, so here's something to chew on as you fire up your next game. The next time you're playing, and you hit that part, you know, the part that always makes you just want to throw the controller, that rage quit moment. Think about it differently now. Knowing the tools exist, knowing you could change it, what's the first thing you would redesign about that frustrating part? Give that some thought.